welcome to another video and another layout. This one is, I decided to use a heap of washi tape. Okay, I quite often get people asking me to show them different ways of using washi tape. So this is what I'm doing. Now, I wanted to use 1/4 inch washi tape because that's what I sort of have the most variety in. And this particular one was 1/2 inch. So I just laid it on some wax paper and I simply cut it in half. And then I ended up with the purples in a close to 1/4 inch strip. Now, what you can see me doing is I'm starting in one corner and I'm just using a variety of colors. This is sped up big time. Just so you know, this took me, it was super simple, but it did take a little bit of time. So don't think for a second that this is how fast I work, because it's not. I actually ended up doing this over a couple of different mornings last week. So each morning I was just doing a little bit more, and in between, rushing here, there and everywhere and doing what I had to do and buying new cars and all that sort of stuff, I managed to get this one done, and life should hopefully settle down a little bit for the next couple of weeks, which will be good because we don't have any competitions this weekend. However, please join me in basking in the glory that Jennifer got placed second in her comp on the weekend on her bars at the regional championships, which is bloody amazing if I do say so myself. Like, she just blows my mind when it comes to gymnastics. It really blows my mind. So we're off to States next, which will be in September. So I should have a couple of weeks there where I can get a few videos done before the day that I would like to put them up. So this video is actually going up today. So it's very much in real time, this one. Now what I did is, when I went through my washi tape, I pulled out color groups. So as you can see, I'm kind of creating a rainbow, a very loose, don't quote the colors exactly, like some of them are darker, some of them are lighter, some of them have patterns, some of them don't. And I thought that would all go in the direction of texture, because that is something that I get asked a lot, believe it or not. How can I create texture without bulk? And that is something you probably hear me rabbit on about it a fair bit in different videos, because I understand that not everybody wants to put texture paste and, anything that's going to, heavy bodied acrylic paint, that sort of thing. Not everybody wants to use that in their scrapbook albums. So I thought this would create a lot of movement and a lot of texture because of the different patterns and tones of the colors. And I will be very honest, I'm very, very happy with the end result. It turned out really nice. And you can probably see that I'm just going ahead and putting down the tape directly. I'm not putting any adhesive underneath it. And we all know that washi tape, or if you don't know, washi tape by design is not supposed to be permanent, right? So it will lift and it will let go of your cardstock. Don't stress. I'm going to show you a perfectly good way of putting all these little tiny strips down, and then, of which I'm not measuring, by the way, I'm just eyeballing. So you can see that I did a few pencil lines to give me a guide of where to sort of keep the arch going, or a very loose arch, but the curve, and I'm just putting it down. There's no rhyme or reason. There's no rule to what I'm doing here. It's really simple. You could use anything. If you don't want to do it in rainbow colors, you could do it in black, gold, silver. You could do it in metallics. You could do it in, if you don't have washi tape, you could quite easily use your colored cardstock and, maybe buy a 6x6 paper pad, and, you could cut that into strips. It doesn't have to be 1/4 of an inch. It could be bigger than that if you want to maybe get this done a whole lot quicker. I felt that the 1/4 inch would give me a little bit more movement because it's going to look like there's a lot more on the page, because of course there is. But you do you. If you give this a crack, let me know what you used. Did you use you could do this quite easily if you had texters. If you wanted to use paint pens, you could do this. You could layer them on top of each other. You could do it like that. You could use the new metallic spritz range from, the distress spritz. You could spray the papers and then cut them down, and then you would end up with a really metallic, that would look stunning, I think. You could do something like that. If you have the oxide inks, you could color some cardstock and you could go down that path with it. I genuinely think this is a very, very easy scrapbook page to scrap lift, for those that like to get inspiration but then scrap lift. I haven't said this for ages, but anybody that wants to scrap lift my pages, go for it. That's why I do this. I do this to show you, not because I don't do this to say, these are my pages, I'm teaching you, and that's that. That is not the Aussie way, right? The way that my brain works is I do this to teach you, to show you different techniques, different ideas that you can adopt, you can use your way, you could do whatever you like, right? Please feel free, go for it. So as you can see, it's a bit of a loose rainbow. That's not really red down the bottom, but it's okay. Now I am painting over the top with some multi-matte medium, hang on, what's it called? I always say it incorrectly. Let me have a look. Ranges Multi-Medium Matte is what it's called. And because I didn't want shine, I didn't want shimmer, but it's a glue. It holds everything. Whatever you put down with that stuff, it stays. So I have just done a very thin coat and I've brushed it across the top of it. It has glued everything down and nothing is coming up. So that has now made all those little strips permanent, which is great. So, I'm sure you could do it with maybe just PVA glue, craft glue, school glue, all of those sort of things. I think you could probably use all of them. I use this because it was in my collection, and to be honest, I don't use it nearly as much as I thought I probably would when I bought it. And as I say to you all the time, any of your wet mediums, they don't last forever. So if you get into mixed media, you buy lots and lots of mediums, all different spritzes and paints and gloss sprays and, inks, all that sort of stuff. All the wet stuff does not last forever. It will eventually dry out. So use it when you can. Now, I decided to use washi tape to do the border around my layout. Okay. Now, believe it or not, at this point, I hadn't even chosen photos. So I didn't even know what photos I was putting on here. I just wanted to do this cool layout that was in my head. So I decided to use the photos from my husband and I are at the moment. We're in the process of ripping the carpet out of, we only have 2 bedrooms with carpet in it, but they are massive bedrooms, I might say. And we ripped the girls' carpet up 3 weeks ago. And it looks so good and it is so much better in there. It is brilliant. And I'm hoping maybe this weekend we'll get in and do our room. That would be amazing to get rid of that carpet. It's really old carpet, guys. Really, really old carpet. We said we were getting rid of it 17 years ago. We're finally getting around to it. Now, I was having a play there because I really hadn't set my mind on how I was going to lay out my photos and my title. And I think that is the way it is at the moment. That's how it stays. So This is my I'm just putting my offset down at the moment. I cut my title on my Cricut, and I am using, initially I was going to try and use my Sharpies and do that and sort of create a tie-dye look. Then I realized, you know what? I have distressed watercolor pencils. Hello, let's use them. They'll be really easy. And you can see I do actually have all of them. So it gives me a really good, I've got a really huge color range to choose from. So I'm really happy with that. Now, as you can see, I'm only doing sort of half the word on some of them. That's because where you can see the offset sitting, the word is actually going to be crossing over into the colors. So when you get to the end of it, you'll see why I've actually done it that way. Now, with the distressed watercolor pencil, so I've just put some color down. These things are highly, highly pigmented. When you wet them, the red that I used there, I actually used, what did I use? I can't remember the color I used, but it wasn't the color's fault. I actually had way too much water on my brush and I didn't realize that I had diluted it too much. So I just come in over the top with a slightly darker pinky red tone. I think I used Festive Berries just to add a little bit more depth of color there. So I'm slightly out of, there you go, I brought it back in. See how I've got the green over the green and the blue over the blue? That's what I was trying to do with my title. So does that make sense now why it was in different color ranges? Just so the color, the title, it's got the offset around it. And I thought I wanted to just leave the offset white like that, but true Karen fashion, you know, my contrasting color, if it's black, I've got to have black on there 3 times for it to look balanced. And it wasn't looking balanced because around the words were just white. If I had have put a white border around it, it probably would have not looked so odd. But I end up running around the edge of my title with my Ecoline. It's an Ecoline brush pen and it is fantastic. I absolutely love it for creating a very fine border by simply, as you can see me there, just drawing from the back of it. But it wasn't quite thick enough. So I decided I'd glue down my photos and then I wanted them to be slightly offset. I didn't want them to be directly above each other. And then I pulled out my, what's it called? Brain's gone blank. My Posca paint pen, and it's a small one. It's only the 0.7 millimeter, and that gave me the black border that I was looking for. And because it was matte as well, that worked perfectly. I absolutely loved it. And now can you see how much more the title pops? That's what I was after. And that's a true thing. That's something I do a lot because it's such a simple thing to do. And it doesn't require really expensive products to do it. And this is something that I'm really big on. Yes, I know that I have a lot of stuff, but you know, I don't expect that you guys have got an entire scrapbooking shop in your craft space. So I like to try and use things to create the effect. Like this is all washi tape. This is all tape that I've had in my collection forever. And, you know, this whole layout has come together with, yes, I've used my Cricut for my title, a little bit of sequins, black pen, and washi tape with a layer of glue over the top. That's it. So, and look how dramatic it is. Now, my little sequins here, you will notice that I have actually got a stack of these little containers and I keep all my beads in it, my flat back beads. I keep my flat back pearls, my sequins. I keep them in these containers because it just makes it so easy for me to just grab them and go sprinkle, sprinkle, and it works perfectly. I just wanted to add a little bit of something extra onto the layout just for a little bit more shine, because we all know I love my bling and my shine. So I think this just finished it off perfectly. There was no need for fussing and farting around. It looked great. It did take me quite a few days because I was working on this layout during the week before I went to work every day. So it was one of those things. Now, I did run around with another thin black line with my Posca paint pen on top, and it does help it just pop that little bit. Now, I'll show you up close, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, all that fun stuff if you're getting value from my videos. And if it's something that you give a try, don't forget to jump on the old Facebook link in the description. Go over to our Facebook group and you can drop your photos of what you create, and you can see all the photos up close. I take loads and loads of photos for you to zoom in on and see exactly how I've done something. You can see all the mistakes when I zoom in on the photos. I don't hide that from you guys. So there you go. Don't forget, like, subscribe, all that sort of stuff. Don't forget, I've also got my Buy Me Coffee link if you want to support the channel. Thanks for watching, guys. Chat to you later. Bye for now.